On this episode of inCycle, we're in the Big Apple at the Bicycle Film Festival.
The Bicycle Film Festival is an arts and cultural event, and it came out of Brett Barber's accident in 2001 when he was hit by a bus while riding his bike.
There's a look at Harmansberg and Axeon and their developing talent.
The reason the team really started is because it's all part of Lance Armstrong's comeback. He wanted to have a development team created to support Taylor Phinney and asked me if I was interested in running it.
But first, the last instalment of the inCycle Tour de France Leadout. On this episode, inCycle are back at the tour, bringing you all the alternative behind-the-scenes stories from the last week. In the final week, the Leadout talk hotel reviews with Magnus Cort. Joey Roskopf receives a special delivery on the Col du Galibier. The Lanterne Rouge goes to Sebastian Langefeld. But first, Alexander Kristoff's DJ alter ego.
Alex, who is DJ Polar Bear?
Yeah, I think maybe the name is taken already, but yeah, I was planning if I get a DJ career sometimes that will be my name, but maybe I have to change it to Ice Bear like it's the Norwegian name of Polar Bear, but we will see.
How much DJing have you done?
Very little, I was too tired, so I was thinking this month I have a lot of time, but actually I'm so dead and my creativity went really down, so hasn't been much working on that, unfortunately.
The other riders been hearing the stuff?
Yeah, I tried it one time, but it was more negative feedback than positive.
Magnus, you've been turning your hand to being a hotel reviewer as well as a pro cyclist here.
Yeah, I have. Yes, an idea I got last year. The team were really pushing for me to do some more social media, and I didn't really feel that the normal stuff would bring anything good to the world. But then I thought I can review the hotels and just show the world how it is.
And you're doing a star rating out of 7, is that right? What gets a hotel an extra star and what takes a star away? What are the key things you're looking for?
I would say if everything is good, it's a 6, and then to get the last 7 star, then it has to be like special, like super nice, really big room. And then as soon as they start having mistakes in my book, there's no air conditioning, the internet is not working, it's not enough space for opening your suitcase, stuff like that, then they're losing a star every time.
Joey, normally on a mountain stage, eating, drinking, very important. What were you eating? You got something very special at one point.
I did. I got a waffle hand up on the last climb. Actually, I kept it in my pocket until I got to the finish because it was just a 15K downhill to the finish line. But yeah, my girlfriend was there on the last climb, so always a boost of energy to see someone like that so deep into a hard stage.
And she was very proficient at handing it over. You must have known she was there, or?
I knew she would be somewhere on the climb. I didn't know she had anything to hand up or whatever. I was surprised. I was just reaching out to say hey. But then she stuck a waffle in my hand and I grabbed it. It was pretty, it looked efficient. It looked planned, but no, it wasn't. It was just a funny moment.
Sebastian, you're the Lanterne Rouge for this tour. Were you going for it? Were you aware that you were near the bottom of it?
No, I wasn't really going for it. But like Paris was coming closer and there were a couple of other riders who were saying, yeah, are you riding for it or not? And to be honest, I didn't. I had a pretty bad crash midway the tour, so I struggled a lot with that. So sometimes it was just finishing off a stage with less energy as possible. But yeah, you get quite a bit of publicity with it.
And how satisfying is it to have had that crash and to have got to Paris now?
I started off pretty good in the tour, and that crash was 2 days before the time trial, and I had quite a bit of injuries. But I'm happy to be here and happy to be in Paris, and I will enjoy this day. It's my 6th tour, and it's always special to finish on the Champs-Élysées.
First time I heard about the Bicycle Film Festival last year, I think I was just scrolling through Facebook. I wrote an email to the director of the festival and I said, hello, I'm coming from Richmond, Virginia. I would love to help out with your festival. I'll be here the whole time, just let me know. It's displaying the hard work that cyclists and filmmakers, creators have put in to advance their own cycling, but also to advance the community.
The Bicycle Film Festival is an arts and cultural event, and it came out of Brett Barber's accident in 2001 when he was hit by a bus while riding his bike. He thought that using media and using arts and using music to connect people to cycling, because I think that we have more of an emotional connection to stories than other forms of activism. I do see that this is a form of activism.
Biking to me is a mode of resiliency for neighborhoods. Hurricane Sandy, when suddenly all the city shut down and everyone's like, I guess I need to ride my bike to get from place to place. And then people did and were amazed. And they're like, oh, it's wonderful and it's easy and the whole city is so small. It's just mine. I can go wherever I want. Everything that happens on a bike, they can understand, they can change, they can control, they can fix. There's not a lot of problems in your life that you can fix all of with your own hands.
I think it's less than 5% of New York actually rides a bike. And the way you're treated as a cyclist, especially when I'm riding a bike in New York, I feel like my life is in danger. I have to really protect myself against cars. I feel like the cars are out to get me.
We're trying to bring everyone together, and this is the perfect event to do that. You have the people that they go on their commutes, but then you have their bike messengers that they do that for a living. But then you also have those people that, like, at the end of the weekend, they actually race and they do amazing things in Central Park and Prospect Park and things like that. So it's a culmination of everyone that in one place at the same time, which is absolutely amazing.
I have been intrigued by just long distance track cycling. I've done a couple of ridiculous 200-mile rides on my track bike recently. I'm going to New York. I might as well bike there. So I did. It took me about 3 days. It was a bit over 400 miles on the way here. I did Richmond to DC, and then I did DC to Philadelphia and Philadelphia to here. And I rode it on my bike just like this, but with a lot more bags attached to it. Ride what you got, they say.
I'm Evan Hall. I'm the director of the film The Impossible Ride, which documented Denise Karenik, the cyclist. Yep, Denise's world record last year out on the Bonneville Salt Flats. So the paced bicycle land speed record, the fastest cyclist in the world right here.
183.9 miles an hour. Someone actually did the math recently and said you realize that you went from one end of a football field to the other end of a football field in 1 second. That's the beauty of the Bicycle Film Festival, is it really showcases the amazing things that you can do on a bicycle. And ours is about speed, and then there's others about endurance and the human condition, and being able to do that. It's just fascinating because it goes beyond the bike. The bike is sort of the tool that's everything. It's like the cog in the wheel.
Yes.
The film industry and cycling industry are both two very male-dominated industries, so it really says a lot that there's a lot of female-fronted stories and female directors involved in the festival.
Great.
Yes, you're here, you're back. I grew up in foster care. I had many years of homelessness, so I was living on the streets. And having a bike enabled me to get to school, to have education, to work my first job. You know, cycling is inherently dangerous, but it really has provided me community and a family, and a whole hell of a lot of exploration and adventure. And a lot of it is on this bike. This very same bike, and I put it through a lot probably.
Coming into the team, you're already thinking of people that have come through, and for most of us, you want to become one of those success stories as well.
We come into the team as young adults, and really maturing as a person is important, and you know, values you have in life, not just in a bike race.
If you're a young cyclist, young talent growing up, it's like you want to be on Axeon because it's the best development team in the world.
Making it to the World Tour ranks is a huge step for any rider in their quest to fulfill a cycling dream. Arguably, there is no team better at helping youngsters forge that path than Hagensboom and Axeon. Over the last 10 years, the American-based outfit has built a mightily impressive track record, with alumni scattered throughout the elite peloton. For its entire history, one man has acted as the team's philosophical guide and figurehead. Axel Merckx.
The reason the team really started is because it was all part of Lance Armstrong's comeback. He wanted to have a development team created to support Taylor Phinney and asked me if I was interested in running it. I was just retired from professional cycling, and I was kind of looking around at what opportunities could raise, and I thought I might as well try that. When I got the offer, I thought, you know, let's start a team and let's do a team that I wish I was in when I was a bike rider. So I took all what I thought was a positive attitude and things that I went through my whole career and tried to translate that to a development team with different limited budget, obviously.
Since that point, Merckx has crafted one of the most revered development systems in cycling. At the start of 2019, 29 World Tour riders were graduates of the Axeon system, dating back to 2009. They include the likes of the aforementioned Taylor Phinney and fellow EF Education first teammate Joe Dombrowski. Classic specialist Jasper Stuyven spent 2 years there during its years as a feeder team for Trek Factory Racing. 2017 was a bumper year for talent, with the likes of Nelson Paulus and this year's Giro d'Italia revelation Eddie Dunbar among those taking the first step. While Belgian sprinter Jasper Philipsen has already made waves in his first season at UAE Emirates after spending 2018 with the squad.
It's a great pride for me and for everybody that's worked for the program to see those guys do so well, and you know, it's great to see them at the races and still supporting the program and talking to the new guys when they see them at the races, and to be in touch with them.
Those new guys include a time-trialling Rolls-Royce, a laid-back rouleur and a former US national champion. Just 3 hoping to be the next Axeon success.
My name is Jonathan Brown. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm 21 years old.
I'm Michael Rice. I'm from Canberra, Australia, and I'm 23 years old.
My name is Mikkel Bjørk. I'm from Denmark, and I'm 20 years old.
Well, Mikkel is obviously a very talented rider, 2 times world champion time trial U23. He's just a powerhouse, and he's You know, I would say he's almost his biggest enemy is himself. He's very ambitious. He wants to get there yesterday.
Going into the team, I was really focused on getting my threshold up or getting my, it was more of like, how can I become a stronger cyclist? But I think after a year in the team, I realized that there are so many more things to it. For me, time trialing it's a way for me to get more well-known and more respected in the pro peloton, because based on my road race performances, not that many people has noticed that. But a lot of people notice if you become an under 23 world champion. So for me, it has been the right way to do it. Like focus on the time trialing and then slowly building up to be a better road cyclist.
You know, Johnny Braun winning national last year was a huge accomplishment for himself, but it was a huge honor for us. And a little bit after, you know, national, he contacted me and said, you know, I have some offer to go somewhere else, but I just want to let you know that I want to stay one more year with you because I think that I'm not quite ready yet. And that kind of situates the mentality that Johnny has.
My history with the team started a while before I was on it. My brother rode for the team for 4 years, quite a few years before I was on the team. So I knew Axel a little, and then once I turned 18, it was Axel. We had been talking throughout the year and sent me an email, and then that was pretty much it. I think a lot of us, when we come into the pro races, we're really eager, and learning from Axel and our directors, just keep calm in the races and not to stress out so much all the time, because if you're stressing out over a 5-hour race, by the time when it really matters, you're already mentally fatigued.
Michael Rise has run a few races in the US. He's a really great team player. He's really good for the atmosphere. He's a very calm and I think kind of a mentor also a little bit with the riders. I think he has the talent to do great things. He just needs that little bit of a help and that breakthrough results to push him over the line.
I describe myself as like a punchy sprinter, roller type cyclist. I prefer to be in the group environments in the peloton, and you know, that's one of my strengths is moving through a group. I haven't won a professional race yet, so that's my first goal, and then you know, to keep climbing up through the ranks and being a World Tour team is, you know, that's where I want to end up and really make a career out of the sport.
Radio test. Nicole, do you hear me?
We were in the same team a couple of years. Most of the time also rooming together, like doing Tour de France, Giro d'Italia, Vuelta, stuff like that. We always said like, if the opportunity arises to work together at one point would be great. I'm responsible for the European part of the program, so basically I'm only in the US for our annual training camp over there in the beginning of the season, and other than that I focus on Europe with taking care of the logistics as well and contact with the organizers.
No, I'm just mad that made everything smell.
Okay guys, coming back to yesterday. Kevin had the worst moment to have his chain drop there, which left him at the back, at the top of the climb where it all happened. Anything from you guys to mention? Remarks?
We were like 10-20 wheels too far back in the one decisive moment, and you have like 30 seconds to react.
Yeah.
And we couldn't, so.
Short stages like that, it's just takes a lot of concentration because it can happen anytime, especially when there's so much wind. But that's what we're here for. We're here to learn, so it's not, you know.
Well, we give them the opportunity to fail, basically. And this is the age where they're allowed to fail. And the further on in cycling career you get, the more strict it's going to be, the more detailed it's going to be, and we try to make them aware of that. And next to that, keeping it as fun as it can be for a long time.
If you're up to it, on kilometer 111, you can win your weight in beer. Mikkel.
Yeah.
You have to smash it there, man. It's no bonification second, but it could be 70 liters of beer or whatever. So.
For 85.
Or 85.
If I didn't learn it from this team, it's a bit difficult. Like, I couldn't see where else I should have learned it from. Because when you go into cycling really young, I dropped out of school, so I only had cycling to focus on. And if you only talk about cycling and just train on your bike and do nothing else, then you can get pretty special, because it's the only thing that you have to focus on. They're trying to make us more human being than our cyclists. I think that's nice.
The nice thing about the team is, even though we're racing at these professional races, and Axel really makes sure that we all understand we still are young riders, and we're all developing, and even once you leave the team and you go on to another team, that you're still 23 years old and you have a long career ahead of you.
You know, talking to friends that have left the team and gone onwards and upwards, you know, we're still having the same conversations. You know, we've even been in the same race sometimes, and that's the thing about cycling. You could be wearing a different jersey, but we're all in the same race and we're all going for that same finish line.
You know, I've never thought 10 years ago that I would still be standing here and run the team, but I think we've shown the world, but also shown the riders what we can bring to them, and how easier the transition is from development to World Tour. And as long as we have sponsors that are willing to invest in youth and in development, I'll try to keep doing this job and this team as long as I can.
That's it for now, but do join us next time. Until then, keep up to date with us on social media.